Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Here now is your host, Chad Amond, President and CEO of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce.
Hello and welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections. I'm your host, President and CEO of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce, Chad Amond. I am excited today to have on the show Bill Urbanik. Bill is co-founder of Goal Magazine. He's also a partner with Second Half Coach Wealth Management. But we're going to be talking about Goal Magazine today. Bill, thanks very much for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Chad. It's great to be here. Always an honor.
Well, I guess one of the things that we need to get into first is I always ask the guests to tell a little bit about your background and how you got to Westmoreland County and
going back a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
Yeah, it's your bio, right? But So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I've been here now 16 years. I am originally from Washington, Pennsylvania. Met my wife in college who was from this area, and this is where we decided to settle down. I've been working as a financial advisor for those 16 years with Second Half Coach Wealth Management and the owner of the company, along with two other people, Jessica Marazza and Tony Slazak, who are my partners. And we now live in Latrobe. My kids go to Mountain View Elementary, a part of the Latrobe School District, and couldn't be happier. Love the Westmoreland County area, love the people. It's a great place to raise a family, great place to have a business and be involved in the community, which is something that's really important to me.
Well, you're a financial planner and a partner with Second Half Coach Wealth Management. How did you get into the magazine industry? I mean, that just it just doesn't, living with the chamber, and I work a lot with financial planners. Not many of them are in the magazine industry.
I wouldn't think any of them are. It's a funny story. I mean, a few years ago we created kind of a vision plan for things that we wanted to improve with our company at Second Half Coach Wealth Management. And we broke that into two different areas. One was how do we look, and the other was how do we feel. And how do we look focused on marketing and things like that, and how do we feel focused on our internal operations and things that we felt we could do better. I was in charge of the how do we look portion, and we divided up our team into two different groups to study these areas. And we were looking at our newsletter that we sent out to clients. And it was your typical advisor newsletter. It was full of financial articles, black and white, looked like a little mini newspaper.
A lot of graphs, right?
A lot of graphs. And we're sitting there looking at it, and we're wondering if anyone's ever even reading this. And so we started figuring out some ways that we could maybe make it a little more intriguing to the readers. And we talked about, maybe having our CPA write an article and a lawyer write an article, and then throw in some fun stuff like recipes from a chef or photography tips. And the next thing you know, it started to evolve into that we should do this on a regular basis with the newsletter. So we created the idea of a magazine and making it colorful and making it more appealing, something that would kind of stay on people's coffee tables a little bit longer. And then when we started talking to people about being in it, then we just kept talking to people. We talked to, people like yourself, right, and the owner of Velazzi's, Ernie Velazzi, and Autumn Stankay and Scott Ludwig with real estate. And everyone was really excited about it. And the next thing you know, we had a magazine full of local writers. We decided to spin it off from being a Second Half Coach thing into being its own entity, and made Go to Goal and Goal Magazine a nonprofit. And it's been quite an adventure. I always tell people it's the daughter I never had. I mean, it's been raised from the very beginning, and it's kind of something that's real special to me, how it's evolved.
So it kicked off with how do you look, and maybe increasing the newsletter for your clients, but we're going to go shift into what is the mission, and I'm guessing that's going to be how do you feel?
Yeah,
right?
the mission is, one of the things we notice in our appointments with clients is that people are inundated with a ton of information. I mean, we all know that. I mean, between 24-hour news, the internet, social media, all the apps on everybody's phone, everybody's getting hammered with information. Yeah. And a lot of it is negative, and a lot of it takes a certain position of a negative tone because that's what sells, and that's what people are interested in. When a news article tells you, hey, everything looks great, don't worry, no one reads that article.
Right.
And that's kind of a shame, but that's the truth. And we just found people making a lot of decisions based on information that was, maybe not factual or misleading. And we wanted to come up with something that was very authentic, a source that people could really count on. And, so the main mission of the magazine is to provide people with a valuable source of information that is authentic, that is provided by people who they can look in the eye, they can go see in their offices, ask follow-up questions for. These are people that you walk down the street next to. And we're not trying to get ratings, and we're not trying to sell advertising slots to advertisers. And so we have no financial incentive to paint a picture that merely sells magazines. We're trying to provide good, authentic information and give people a resource that they can count on locally, because I think it's getting hard to come by these days, a source that you can count on.
Well, I guess, I'm going to be the brutally honest person. I was approached by you and your staff to write articles, and I love it. It is one of the benefits of my position with the chamber for writing for Gold Magazine. I always my high school teacher, my high school English teacher that sits behind me in church, Mr. Warner. I always pat him on the back because he taught me how to write.
Well, he did a good job.
Yeah. Well, but I want to know, and the listeners want to know, who are some of the other writers? I mean, when you look through the magazine, you have some significant, some people that are writing your articles.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up. I mean, we've had 7 issues now. 2 issues I want to point out is the one right before this most recent one. We had the Gentlemen of Gold issue, and a few issues before that, we had the Women of Gold issue. And that featured a number of our female writers and then a number of our male writers. So those 2 issues right there featured 8 women and 12 men. So there's 20 writers right there on those 2 covers. And what's really cool about it's an eclectic collection. It's not a financial magazine. It's not a food magazine. It's got a little bit of everything, which gives kind of something for everybody's palate. And if you're interested in food and wine and maybe photography, you're reading that article. And right next to it is Chad Amond's article talking about what's going on with commerce in our area. And maybe that's not an article you would normally read, but since it's right next to that one that you're more interested in, you kind of pick up on a few things. So that's kind of the concept. But some of our writers include, we have Jerry Ferraro, who's a very popular history teacher at Latrobe High School, who writes articles about local history and current events and stuff, which is very popular. We have a student section. We have a student at Latrobe that's picked every issue by one of the teachers to write a piece about things that are going on with students today, which is a great perspective. I mentioned earlier Scott Ludwig, who's one of the most well-known popular real estate agents in our area. Brian Kissel, a CPA, Reed Nelson and his people at Westmoreland Chiropractic, John Insulmini and Pat DeSessor from Insulmini Construction. We have Gina Sorelli, County Commissioner, writing for the magazine. And while I'm on the subject of Gina, we have other politicians who write too, like Pat Stefano. And I want to point on that because people are like, right now, obviously, politics is one of the most negative things in our society today.
Really? Politics are negative in this?
Yeah, and what's sad to me about that, Chad, is we need to be talking about politics. And people are scared to talk about it because they're afraid of retribution, they're afraid to lose friends, or they're afraid of maybe not knowing what's really going on. And Gold Magazine provides a few political articles every issue written by one Democrat, one Republican. And my goal with those articles is that if you read the article, you wouldn't know whether they were a Democrat or Republican. They're purely educational. They're purely informational pieces to help the readers understand what's going on from a legislative perspective, an issue perspective in our area. They're not campaign pieces, and they're not partisan pieces. And we're very strict about that.
And that's the way it should be, right?
Yes, that's really what it should be all the time when you see political things on TV and the news. But unfortunately, again, going back to those advertising dollars and the ratings that people are trying to get, negativity sells. But for Gold Magazine, that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for negativity. We're looking to be an authentic resource for our people, and politics is just one of those areas that we want to make sure that we provide to people.
You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. I'm your host, Chad Amond, president of the Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce. We are talking with Bill Urbanik. Bill is the co-founder of Gold Magazine and a partner with Second Half Coach Wealth Management in Latrobe. But Bill, you talked about the student from Latrobe and Jerry Ferraro, who is a writer from Latrobe. But this does not focus significantly on Latrobe. It covers the whole county and the whole region.
It does. It does. The idea is to keep it, it is local. It is Westmoreland County based, but we do have other writers. Wendy Bell, who's a friend of mine, writes an awesome article every issue about like human interest pieces. We have Autumn Stankay, who does photography, who's got a great studio in Greensburg. We have Fashion, written by Larimers, which is a Pittsburgh-based company. If you've ever been there, both men and women apparel. And the thing is I wanted a little bit of touch. Wendy and Larimers brings in a little bit of Pittsburgh to the magazine, because I feel like even though we live in Greensburg or live in Latrobe, we live in West, we're all Pittsburghers. We all bleed black and gold, right? So how could a magazine in Westmoreland County not have a little touch of Pittsburgh too?
Yeah, that's a good point. I sometimes say sometimes people think they need their passport to go into the city of Pittsburgh, but we all do bleed the black and gold. But one of the things that I think the listeners want to know is how do they subscribe to Gold Magazine? How do they get the Gold Magazine?
Well, that's a great question, and you could subscribe the normal way, which you would expect is you go to our website, you subscribe, you pay for it. There are now close to 6,000 people getting our magazine, and some have subscribed to it, and some are getting it basically as a value provided by somebody they work with. And going back to our mission is not only to provide a valuable resource to people, is to collaboratively work with other businesses to provide that resource to people. So at Second Half Coach Wealth Management, we mail 1,500 copies out of this magazine to people that we work with. And Katrini Rafferty, the law firm that writes for the magazine, sends to people. Scott Ludwig sends to people. Brian Kissel sends to people. Gina Sorelli sends to some people. So the next thing you know, by each contributor sending to some of their clients or people that supporters, we have a mailing list. And it's a great way for small business owners, a collection of small business owners and community leaders that otherwise couldn't afford to produce a magazine and do a direct mail campaign to that many people,
right?
To collaboratively do it a little bit each, and the next thing you know, you've got this piece that's going out to everybody, and so that's one of the ways you get it. And then, of course, you could subscribe on your own.
So, Bill, how many subscribers, in a rough estimate, are there?
There's about close to 6,000 people getting the magazine, and that's the physical version. A number more go out through email. We just created an agreement with an online provider that will provide the magazine in a digital format.
Right.
So we're going to be announcing that soon, where you could subscribe to it through that means and get it, sent to you via email in kind of a flipbook version. So that's where we're at right now. It's growing. The other thing we started was a fundraising initiative for local organizations, churches, PTOs, sports teams, where instead of selling your candy bars or your pizzas and storing this food in your living room and maybe even buying a lot of it yourself, you could actually sell subscriptions to Gold Magazine and retain a significant portion of what the money that you sell for your organization. And we've just announced that, and we've got our first team doing that. And we think that's going to be something that takes off, raises some money for these local organizations, and builds our subscription list even further.
We're going to get more in-depth with that. We'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB.
This is Westmoreland Community Connections on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. If you have a suggestion for a topic, or if your nonprofit organization would like to be featured on this program, call us during regular business hours at 724-216-1200.
Welcome back. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. I'm your host, Chad Amond, president of the Westmoreland County Chamber. We are talking today with Bill Urbanik. Bill is the co-founder of Goal Magazine and partner with Second Half Coach Wealth Management. Bill, before we went to break, we were talking about the vision and the way that Goal Magazine got started. Obviously, it's a team. It's a team effort.
Absolutely.
I think that probably you probably want to recognize some of the key contributors to making Goal Magazine launch.
Sure. I learned a long time ago, my dad gave me a great piece of advice. He said, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by amazing people at our office. The Second Half Coach Wealth Management team is a family to me. From my partners, Jess Mrazza and Tony Slazak, to Tanya Rockwell, who's a college friend, Bree Edgerly, Amanda Major, my wife, Jessica Urbanik. I mean, we all get along so well. I mean, it really, truly is a great environment to work in. And everybody at the Second Half Coach Wealth Management team works on the Goal Magazine project with a few other people, such as Kate Lloyd, who is a local English teacher in the Hempfield School District, who does our editing, Jamie Greenwald, who's our designer, who does an amazing job. I mean, the look of the magazine's fantastic.
It is.
Paul Nikoloff, who's our printer, and Autumn Stankay, who does all of our photography for Second Half Coach Wealth Management, a number of the other contributors, as well as always doing our cover shoots. She just did the piece with Ernie Velazzi, the Gentlemen of Goal, the Women of Goal, which she was also a part of. Right. Does an amazing job. So I really can't say enough about the teams that we work with. It really truly is the culmination of a lot of collaborative work and creativity and passion by all of us to make a difference in our community that has really made Goal Magazine so popular.
It does seem like a family. The Goal Magazine team, well, because I obviously interact with Goal and have the ability to be a contributing writer, but you guys have such a network of. It just seems so close. You guys seem so close, and we kicked it off by saying, one of the reasons why you kicked the Goal Magazine off is how you look, and also it was how you feel,
right?
And I think that probably part of the how you feel portion is giving back to the community, and you do so much to give back to the community. Tell the listeners some of the things that you do to give back to the community.
Well, it's very motivating to work with people who, beyond their capability as professionals, are so committed to just making a difference in people's lives, both from the financial advising standpoint, but also in our community. I mean, every member of our team wants to make a difference. They don't want to just come to work and put in their time and go home. They actually want to make a difference in the people's lives that we serve, but also in the communities we live in, and be a valuable person in our communities. And that's very motivating to all of us. We motivate each other that way. And some of the things that we've done is, we've been doing, we do 2 key fundraisers a year. We have our golf outing in the spring at Ligonier Country Club that raises money for the Greater Latrobe Partners in Education Foundation, specifically raising funds for the special needs, learning support, autistic support, life skills classrooms. And this year, we raised, close to $25,000 and have brought in $50,000 in 3 years to those students. The things that they have been doing with that money is really amazing. We're about to have our gala, which is coming up in a couple weeks at Greensburg Country Club. And we did that last year to raise funds for Animal Friends and Candy Nelson, who does an amazing thing and amazing things for animals in our area with the sanctuary, and is also a contributor to the magazine. And this year we're raising funds for the Clubhouse, which not a lot of people have heard of, but it's really an amazing organization because they have a Westmoreland-based chapter, and they raise their purpose is to support families dealing with cancer, and they're supporting families right here in our backyards. And with Goal Magazine being the community-based resource that it is, we try to pick community-based causes to raise the funds for. And you don't have to look too far in your life to find somebody that has been touched by cancer, and it has a face for all of us, many faces maybe. So that's what we're raising money for this year at the gala. And they provide counseling services, food to people who are just dealing with the biggest struggle of their lives and maybe feeling a loss of hope. And it's just a special thing this year to be trying to help so many families because we know what a struggle it is.
Well, Candy from Animal Friends and two ladies from our clubhouse were on the show not too long ago, and they recognized Goal Magazine and the impact that you're having. If you are interested in attending the gala, the Goal Magazine gala that is going to, the proceeds are going to benefit the Westmoreland County chapter of our clubhouse. It's going to be held on September 22nd from 6 to 11 p.m. at Greensburg Country Club. Bill, how did they get on? How did the listeners get on?
Well, you can go to our website at www.go2, that's the number 2, goalus.com. You can also call our office to get it as well. We're also on Facebook where you can get tickets. I want to point out too, Chad, that something that we've done with this event to make it different is it's not a programmed event or a sit-down dinner. It's a party. There's no speeches. There's no welcome addresses or anything. We welcome people as they arrive and thank them as they arrive. But the night's not about us. So we don't want to stand up there and have everybody listen to us the whole time. And the charity speaks for itself. A lot of people learn about it ahead of time. We want people to come and have a good time, have a night out with friends, have a night out with their community to benefit something in our community. There are casino tables. There is a DJ. There's photo booths, set photography, amazing food, and a 4-hour open top shelf bar. I mean, it's a great amount of fun and entertainment for the price. And like I said, you're not going to sit there and listen to a bunch of people talk or sit next to people you don't even know. You're going to have fun for the entire evening. So if you're looking to have some fun and you missed the gala, you missed a great opportunity.
Well, and it's date night because the men are supposed to wear a tuxedo or a dark suit and formal gown or a cocktail dress for the ladies.
Yes, so it is black tie optional.
If you made your wife angry, take her to the gala, and that will make up for it. You do the gala and you do the golf outing. That's a fun. Those are fundraisers for not-for-profits in Westmoreland County, but you also do programs that stand up and speak out. The Stop Bullying program and the program that you did last year at the Fred Rogers Center at St. Vincent, the program that focused on the opioid. Talk a little bit to the listeners about that.
Well, thanks for bringing it up because this is a really powerful piece of what we're doing and something we're very proud of. Like you said, we do the fundraisers. We also are going to start doing education-based symposiums and seminars. We're going to be launching Goal University soon using Goal Magazine contributors as the professors and stuff. So you're going to have educational opportunities. But the community action events is what we call them. Is last year we had one in November for the opiate crisis. We had 330 people attend at St. Vincent.
It was a packed house.
It was packed. I mean, we had people from different counties come. We had academics speak. We had parents who had lost children. Our keynote speaker was a recovered addict who has gone on to create his own restaurant business and is doing very well. So it had a little bit of everything for everyone. And this year we're doing one, stand up, speak out, and stop bullying. And bullying is something that has evolved over the years. It's no longer the big kid on the playground pushing everybody around. It's got different meanings. It's manifesting itself in different ways, and it's a scary thing. It's causing things like suicide rates to rise. Right. And we want to tackle these issues that are not being tackled because they're not divisive issues. We believe that, a lot of politicians and media focus on divisive issues because, again, negativity sells. So they'll talk about the things that have people divided. But the things that have people united behind don't get talked about because we're united behind them. They don't stir emotions. They don't cause people to get upset. So they're not worth. So we're focused on these issues, and we do it purposely a couple days after Election Day. So last year, the event was a couple days after Election Day, and so is this year's on November 8th. You know, we do it after Election Day and right before Thanksgiving to say, hey, election's over. Your partisan causes are behind you. You went to the polls, you pulled the whatever lever you wanted to or voted whichever way you wanted. Today, we're united behind this cause. Today, right before Thanksgiving, we're giving thanks for the lives we have, and we're trying to make sure other people have the opportunities to have the lives they want by stomping out these issues that are crushing them from a number of different angles.
And it costs nothing to go to these programs. The Stop Bullying program is going to be held at the St. Vincent College Fred Rogers Center on November 8th at 6 o'clock. The doors will open at 5:30. Bill, how do the listeners go on and learn more about this program?
Well, again, you can check out our Facebook page as well for Goal Magazine, as well as our website, www.go2goalus.com, and check out more information about these things. You could also be reading about it in the last two issues of the magazine. And like Chad said, it's free to attend, basically on the generosity of a number of sponsors, such as, the Westmoreland Chamber of Commerce, ourselves, and others who pitch in to make this a free community event. We don't want the cost of attendance to be the reason why somebody doesn't become more aware about bullying or the drug epidemic we have in our backyard.
It's kind of sad that you have to host these events.
It is sad.
Because the opioid and the bullying, but I give you a tremendous amount of credit and tip my cap to you and your team for hosting these programs. Again, if you want to go on to go2goalus.com. It's go2goalus.com. And you can go on their Facebook page and learn more about this. Bill, we're going to round this off. We're ending with the show. But I want to know, what is the vision for Goal Magazine, and where do you see it in the next 5 years?
Well,
is it going to be Time Magazine?
Oh God, I wish. I hope so. To be a little bit more realistic in the short time frame, is our vision is something that keeps evolving as we get more people involved and we learn a little bit more about what is needed in our communities. I think I'd obviously like I envision it being a bigger piece of everyone's lives around here, and being something that is a staple in the Westmoreland County area, that Goal Magazine is something that everyone views that they can count on. And that our events are something that everybody's grateful for and that is doing good things for our community. And so I just want to keep expanding our reach to more and more people, because we're educating them, we're inspiring them. And I think that that's something that we're all absent of sometimes, based on like I said, we're all kind of addicted to our phones and the internet. And
right.
If you spend all your time on those things, I think you're going to see a quality of life go down a little bit just because of the negativity. So I'm hoping that we'll continue to be kind of a bright light in a kind of a dark media world right now, and also be a source of inspiration for more people to be involved in their community, both as individuals and as businesses. So if businesses are looking for a way to do more, Goal Magazine is a great way to do it. You could be involved in our events without hosting your own. Be a piece of a magazine without creating your own, because believe me, that's not something that's easy to do.
Right.
The sky's the limit, and that's part of what makes it so exciting. And doing it in conjunction to what we do on a day-to-day basis with financial advising, we're very proud of the unique relationship we offer there, and with Goal Magazine being a nice piece of that for our clients.
Well, you said you want to be a staple in Westmoreland County. You are definitely a paperclip right now. So, Bill Urbanik, co-founder of Goal Magazine, partner with Second Half Coach Wealth Management, thank you very much for being on the show and for what you and your team are doing with Goal Magazine to impact Westmoreland County.
Well, thank you, Chad. It's an honor to live here and an honor to raise my kids here, and I couldn't think of a better place to do it.
Well, thanks very much. You've been listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on Hometown Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Join us next week, same time, same place, for another edition of Westmoreland Community Connections. Thanks for listening, everyone.
This has been Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings in and around Westmoreland County. Join us again next week on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB.